Welcome to the session on multiplying binomials with trinomials. So I'm going to show you how to multiply the two together. But before we can do that, we first need to know what a binomial and a trinomial is. So a binomial, think bicycle, is an algebraic sentence or expression with two terms. So for example, 3x plus y, or 2 plus 9y, or anything that has two parts. A trinomial is an algebraic sentence or expression with three terms. So 4a minus 5b plus 7c, or x plus y plus z, and so on. So three different algebraic terms. Now remember that terms are separated by pluses or minuses only. Multiplies and divides actually create terms or bring things together inside a term. So for example, if we look at the 3x, it's actually 3 times x. So that a multiply doesn't separate, but a plus or a minus does. Now, there are certain rules that you need to follow when multiplying binomials with trinomials. So make sure that every term in the first expression is multiplied by every term in the second bracket. So to help you with that, you can draw lines or arrows, and I'll show you that in our examples just now. Also remember that when you multiply same signs, like plus with plus or minus with minus, you get a plus. If you multiply different signs, so plus with minus or minus with plus, you get a minus sign. It works exactly the same way for divide as well. So here's our first example. 3a plus 2b times 4a minus 5b. So what we can do is we can, just grabbing my pen quickly. So we can draw a little lines joining each of our terms together, and they will remind us that we need to multiply. So our first one is 3a, and we multiply it with 4a and with 5b. So we're going to have 3a times 4a is 12a squared. Then 3a is a positive, times a minus is a minus. 3 times 5 is 15ab. Okay, so that's the first term done. Now we look at the second term of the first bracket. So 2b times 4a plus times a plus is a plus. 2 times 4 is 8. And we have AB or BA, and we write it traditionally in alphabetical order. And that will just help us when we are looking for like terms when we add our expressions together. Lastly, we're going to say 2b times minus 5b. So plus times a minus is a minus, 2 times 5 is 10, and b times b is b squared. Now, are we finished? No, because we need to make sure that we have any terms that are the same or they are common. So these are like terms, but these terms are unlike terms. So we can just write them down. So we'll have 12a squared. Then we have minus 15ab plus 8ab. So minus 15 plus 8 gives us minus 7. Okay, we can do it like this. 15 minus 8 is 7. And because the 15 is bigger, it has a minus sign. We keep the minus sign here. AB. And lastly, we have minus 10b squared. Cool. Let's try another one. So our second example, we have a binomial multiplied by a trinomial. So again, we're going to multiply every term in the second bracket with every term in the first bracket. So we've got 7x, and we're going to multiply it with 6x. So 7 times 6 is 42, and a positive times a positive is a positive. So we don't need to write any sign. X times x is x squared. Then we do the next one, 7 times minus 4y. So plus times a minus is a minus. 7 times 4 is 28. And x times y is just x, y, and we write it in alphabetical order. Then we have our last one, 7 times 3xy. So plus times a plus is a plus. 7 times 3 is 21. x times x is x squared, and we have a y. Now I'm going to change my color for part 2 so that you can see. All right, so now we have minus 8y. And again, we're going to multiply by each of the terms in the second bracket. So minus 8 times plus 6 is minus 48 x, y. And the only reason I'm writing this underneath the first part is because I would run out of space on my line. So they should actually all be on one line. Then we've got minus 8y times minus 4. So minus times minus is 8 plus. 8 times 4 is 32. And we've got 2 y's, so it becomes y squared. Lastly, we have minus 8 times plus 3y. So minus 8 times plus 3 is minus 24. We've got y times xy, so it's going to be x and y squared. Are we finished yet? No. Now we need to go and look for terms that are like terms. So we've got 42x squared, and if I go and I look, there are no other x squareds. Here you have x squared, but it's attached to y, so that is not the same. So we can just write it down as 42x squared. Next, I have minus 28xy, and if I go look, I also have minus 48xy. So those two we can add together. Just quickly do it on my calculator. Negative 28 minus 48 gives me negative 76 xy. Then I have plus 21x squared y, and there's none like that. So I'll write plus 21x squared y. I've got plus 32y squared, and there are none that are the same. So we'll write that down. And lastly, we've got this one, and we'll just write that one down. So there we go. So steps to follow: multiply every term in the second bracket with your first term, multiply every term in your second bracket with your second term, add your like terms together, and make sure that it is in alphabetical order when you write down your letters. Thank you. Remember to like and subscribe if you are enjoying these videos, and keep an eye out for our next set of algebraic videos where we will be looking at factorizing different expressions.